We're going to get started in a few minutes. We're going to try to start as promptly as possible. And I just want to welcome those of you who are chiming in right now to our weekly webinar. This webinar is designed to enhance the skills that you already have, to remind some of you of some of the things why we are doing the things that we are doing. And for those of you who may be new to the system, new to marketing, this is just one of many tools that we use to educate and train our own so that we can go out into the vineyard, so to speak, and to help others to help themselves. And I will wait a few minutes, and if you can, introduce yourself. Mr. Walter Murphy, Mr. Dempsey Murphy, hello, sir. Always a pleasure. And Miss Kim Williams, I welcome you as well. And as always, thank you for your participation. And we're going to move swiftly this evening because I'm going to cover a lot of ground. And I'm not going to reinvent the wheel. But this call is extremely important. And so therefore, if while we still have a few minutes before we get started, if you can get yourself a pencil, pen, pad, paper, take copious notes, because that's what I do. I'm familiar with everything, but it's always good to take notes, because as you get at my age, you don't recall as good as you used to. And it's still, it's a wise practice to do this anyway, because some of the information that you get, you may never ever get it again. And it might be just that thing that you need, or that information that was said that can alter, can change your life as well as many others. And okay, let me check the old time pieces to make sure everything coincide. And again, I say welcome to the call, and it's officially 6:30. And so I'm going to move forward. First and foremost, my name is David Murphy. I will be your host this evening. I'm filling in for a couple of our members who've gone through some health challenges, and that's where we say next man up. So I'm stepping up, and that's what I do. It's in a battle, if another man goes down, the next man step up, take that place, and keep it going, keep it moving. And so I will be your host this evening. Again, my name is David Murphy, and also I am the publisher of the National Black Unity News newspaper. This publication is powerful, powerful truth. And you want to know a little bit more about this before this webinar is finished. Ladies and gentlemen, you know, for those of you who are veterans on the call, have been on our phone calls, and now we have stepped up, and now we're doing these live webinar calls. And I like to remind people, you know, for us old school people, you know, it was a saying back, it was those songs, what you see is what you get. Now, I could have put on a suit and tie and had an elaborate background that tried to impress you, but this is not what all of this is all about. It's not trying to impress you, but to impress upon you the work that's about to take place here this evening, about how we can change a multitude of lives, how we can support Black businesses and services all across this country and beyond. We have a powerful, powerful tool. Information is power. And power only concedes to power. And since we do have power, if we use it properly, we will make changes. Changes has already been made. And we're going to take it a step further. And like I said, I'm not going to reinvent the wheel. I'm going to take you back in time. I'm going to share about 3 videos with you, and they're all very important. And that's why I want you to take notes. And you may not agree with everything that's going to be said or how it is said, but I want you to take notes because it's extremely important. And if you're not sure about something, study to show yourself approved. Because we have this thing that you're on now, the internet. You can find all types of information. So you don't have to take my words, their words, or anybody else's words. You can study for yourself. And you will see for yourself what we're doing is honorable. What we are doing is good. And what we are doing is uplifting our own people. We're not putting down any group or race of people. And before I go into this video that I want to share with you, most of you are very familiar with the speaker. But before I do this, for those of you first time people that's on this webinar, let me explain this to you. I put out a call for help wanted, part-time, spare time, full-time. Yes, we do have a lot of positions. Yes, you can make money. It's all about making money now. But even more important, it's about the mission. Yes, the newspaper is a tool. This vehicle that we're using right now is a tool. But you will also be a tool yourself, because there's no greater gift than human life. And when I say that, each one of us brings something to the table. You are one of a kind, and nobody can do it the way you can. And so we welcome you with open arms, welcome you to our table, to our family, if you have the right mindset. It's not all about making money. This is about changing lives. This is a mission. Some of you want to keep it business all the time, but this is a mission. And so without that being said, ladies and gentlemen, I want you to bear with me because, like I said, I'm not as fast as I used to. And but this video is going to bring back a lot of memories, but it's also going to open some eyes up. Without further ado, here we go. And by the way, before I even get started on this, for those of you who have come in late, after this webinar is over with, we always record it and we will send it out to you. But I don't want you to leave the call now because you need to get this information right now. With that being said, I'm going straight to the video. And
now this video was filmed on MLK Day. I just want to let you guys know that. And the reason why I didn't go up on MLK Day is because I needed to deal with some issues with false claims on the YouTube content ID system. That's things that we definitely trying to address, at least with them, much as possible, where people love to abuse the system. But continuing, there's a Dr. King that they don't show you. They love to show you the Dr. King saying, I have a dream. And that's all they're going to talk about. Dr. King, he wouldn't do this, and Dr. King wouldn't do that. And, you know, the last 3 years of Dr. King's life, when he really woke up to everything, that's when he really became hated. But I want you to watch a clip real quick of Dr. King. They probably did not show you in your school or what they probably would promote. Let's go ahead and roll that clip.
I must confess that that dream that I had that day has at many points turned into a nightmare. Now, I'm not one to lose hope. I keep on hoping. I still have faith in the future. But I've had to analyze many things over the last few years, and I would say over the last few months. I've gone through a lot of soul-searching and agonizing moments. And I've come to see that we have many more difficult days ahead. And some of the old optimism was a little superficial, and now it must be tempered with a solid realism. And I think the realistic fact is that we still have a long, long way to go. I come here tonight and plead with you. Believe in yourself and believe that you're somebody. And as I said to a group last night, nobody else can do this for us. No document can do this for us. No Lincolnian Emancipation Proclamation can do this for us. No Kennysonian or Johnsonian Civil Rights Bill can do this for us. If the Negro is to be free, He must move down into the inner resources of his own soul and sign with a pen and ink of self-assertive manhood his own Emancipation Proclamation. Don't let anybody take your manhood. Be proud of our heritage. As somebody said earlier tonight, we don't have anything to be ashamed of. Somebody told a lie one day. They couched it in language. They made everything black, ugly, and evil. Look in your dictionary and see the synonyms of the word black. There's always something degrading and low and sinister. Look at the word white. It's always something pure, high, and clean. But I want to get the language right tonight. I want to get the language so right that everybody here will cry out, yes, I'm black, I'm proud of it, I'm black and beautiful.
See, this version of Dr. King isn't the romanticized version of Dr. King. Dr. King stated that his dream turned into a nightmare. The same Dr. King said that I feel like I've integrated my people into a burning building. Now, why would Dr. King say that? He saw that nothing changed. He saw that even though we're now integrated, some areas is now worse than what it was before. And then when Dr. King has started to fight for the poor people instead of civil rights, started standing up against the war in Vietnam, that's when Dr. King was killed. You even heard the speech that Dr. King made about being black, being proud of being black. Don't let nobody take your manhood, which is something that we see today with our young men walking around with these pants underneath their behind. How is it that you are a man walking around like that? You have been tricked into thinking that's a man. No, your manhood was taken away from you. You heard Dr. King say everything described as white is beautiful and great. Everything described as black is horrible. This is Dr. King, but they did not show you that part of Dr. King in school because you remember they control the narratives. When you're dead, it's easy to control what they show you. When you're dead, they can paint whatever picture they want of you. Remember Michael Jackson. Oh, Michael Jackson's so great now. But when Michael Jackson was alive, he was weird. He was a child molester. He was all kind of stuff. But when Michael died, you don't hear none of that stuff anymore about Michael. He's just this great person. But yeah, when he was alive, Sony hated him so much because he was putting his stuff out there on Front Street. He owned the Beatles catalog. He was a shrewd businessman. He beat him at their own game. And that's why they hated Michael so much, including Dr. King. So much so that the man that they blamed for Dr. King's death, he was just a fall guy, innocent man being convicted of a crime he did not commit. But yet the government was found guilty in the murder of Dr. Martin Luther King. I'm pretty sure most of you know this. I'll post a link in the description box so you can review that video I posted about that a while back. This is the thing. It's a lot. How peaceful as Dr. King was, they still killed him. Some people want to talk about Malcolm X and, oh, he was so this. Remember, everything they say about Malcolm X, they lie on him. They try to control that narrative as well. You see, Dr. King knew that giving them civil rights didn't really, as he would say, didn't cost them nothing. But when he wanted a stimulus package for the poor, to really distribute this wealth the right way, to get people out the ghettos and the slums and put them in some nice neighborhoods. Oh no, King had to go then. He wanting money. He talking against our war that's You know, because this country, every time it gets in an economic crisis, we go to war. And who goes to war? Poor people. Not the politicians and their children, but your kids go to war who's poor, and kids of all communities. So no, King was talking too much. King had too much power, and he had to go. That went for JFK. They went for anybody who had some sort of following and wanted to change stuff, just like JFK. The only reason they got rid of him is because what? He was messing with the Federal Reserve. He was taking the power away from the Federal Reserve, and he was getting too big for his britches, and so he wanted to be a real president, and he didn't want to be a puppet that can be controlled. That's why most of the presidents, when you see them get in, they talk a good game, but they become puppets because they know if they don't run the country a certain way as those behind the scenes want, something could possibly happen based on even history. That's what we're looking at. So educate yourself when it comes to Dr. King, the civil rights movement, even leaders of the past. Educate yourself, because our education system will not teach you anything. Our education system is going to teach you the narrative they want you to know. And the great thing about the internet and the information age is you can go out and research yourself and find the answers that you may seek with the situation. Because even the white civil rights leaders who fought and died, notice they never teach you about them in school either. You ever wondered that? You know, I mean, so it just, education is the key. Don't believe the narratives that they put out here. Dr. King woke up. Dr. King saw it for what it was, and that's the main reason why he was killed. Not because he had some sort of dream. That's not really how that went down. But education, I keep telling people, educate yourself. When you have time, you got these smartphones, start doing some sort of research so you can know about not only people in the past, but even learn of self. Because one of the biggest things in the black community, we let everybody else educate us, but yet we don't educate ourselves on ourselves and our history. We educate ourselves on our history, we wouldn't feel no kind of inferior about anything. For what? I mean, it's too much in your history to feel that way. Educate yourself. That's definitely what we promote here, to open your eyes, because the educated people easily cannot be controlled. Hit me up in the comments, future commentaries, subscribe.
Well, Dr. Martin Luther King, powerful man. Who would have known, if you knew him when he was a teenager, the power, if he was just teaching your neighbor, a friend of yours, who would have known that he would have risen to such heights? Well, ladies and gentlemen, there's a saying, each and every one of us put our pants on pretty much the same way. We all possess power if we use it wisely, and if we fear not, faint not. Now, Dr. King is one man, but he had many people around him. The National Black Unity News, what this has to do with the National Black Unity News, it has a lot to it. Because each generation passes the baton. The baton has been passed to us. We have another life-altering formula, the National Black Unity News. As I said to you before, a newspaper is a powerful, powerful tool. Man, it's so powerful. Let me tell you the statistics on this. I say this every week because you need to know we own less than 1% of the media. Less than 1%. That means we're not saying too much right now. 99.9% of our information comes from outside resources. And to be quite frank with you, to be perfectly honest with you, nobody is going to do for us what we can do for ourselves. And later on, I'm going to share some more videos with you, and they got more statistics, more facts, that the power that we possess if we use this wisely. Now, some of you on this call because you said you want to make money, and a servant is worthy of that. But you can't be. This is a serious business. We're talking about altering people's lives. We're talking about black businesses. We're talking about a $1.2 trillion industry, You're talking about the ninth largest country in the world. We can alter this entire world. What we're doing with this publication and the two other tools that we have with it. Yes, you can make some money, but at the same time, you can alter people's lives. Yes, you can make some money, but you can build better communities for our people. Yes, of course, you're going to make some money, but at the same time, we can leave legacies for our children and our children's children. Yes, you're going to make some money if you think not, though. You have to have the right mindset. I share this information to you for a reason, so that you would understand the mission. You have to understand our history. You have to understand the history and the time that we live in. Now, I'm going to give you a prime example of current events. Now, it's been reported through the 99.9% of the media said that today, Monday, October the 2nd, October the 2nd, that over 60, I don't know what the count is now. Last I recall, 58 people killed in Las Vegas and about 400 wounded by a white man. I'm going to show you how our propaganda works. The first thing, I get some wee earls in the morning, 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, they was flashing a picture of an Asian woman. She looks black. And then she was just associated with the gentleman. But they had her picture all over the place. And I was wondering, who's the shooter, what he looks like. And it took me hours. I had to go on the internet and research his name to find out that he was a white man. And I don't know if you recall when this black fella shot those police officers in Texas, I believe. They saw a gentleman walk in, they flashed his picture all over the country just because he was a suspect. Had no proof, no nothing, just flashing, showing that image. Even though it was another black man, regardless. But this is what I'm saying, how quick they are to react when it's of another race. But when it came down to their own, they took their time. You know why? Because it sends subliminal messages. They protect their own image. And you see, we have to protect ours as well. That's why you see us on here. See, you're getting information for us and by us. This is a powerful, powerful tool, ladies and gentlemen. And I'm not saying that, my heart goes out to all of those people. No man should take a life of another. But the systematic discrimination and the propaganda that's being used in this country is just not fair. And we have to do for ourselves, like I said, power only concedes to power. We have power, but we're not using it properly. And I'm going to show you some statistics that prove this point. With that being said, I'm going to take you right to this next video. And unfortunately, ladies and gentlemen, we have to do things like this because we have to educate ourselves. We have to know facts. We have to know statistics.
It's Lene Javette, CEO and founder of Closire.com. Today I was online doing some research on entrepreneurship and business ownership in the African American community. And I found this document entitled 5 Amazing Facts About Small Business. And I wanted to read that to you, but then also do a deeper dive into how it correlates to African Americans. So the document states that there are roughly 30 million small businesses in the United States, which is more than the entire population of Australia. The second fact, which I found very interesting, says that more than 500,000 small businesses are started each year, which is equivalent to about 1 every minute. Small businesses employ half of all U.S. workers. Small businesses represent 99.7% of all employers. And small businesses produce over $6 trillion in GDP each year, which would make it the 3rd highest of any country in the world. The U.S. being first at 14 trillion, China second at 7 trillion, small business at 6 trillion, followed very closely by Japan at 5.8 trillion. So I thought, well, let me go see how does that relate to small businesses and entrepreneurship in our community. Here's what I found. There's a document out there titled The State of Black Entrepreneurship, and that's where I'm reading this information from. It says that African Americans now are facing 15.8% jobless rate and declining household wealth. That's due to a lag in small business ownership. According to the U.S. Census, in 2007, there were 1.9 million Black-owned businesses. Of that 1.9 Black-owned businesses, nearly 1.8 million of those businesses were sole proprietors, meaning that they owned and operate their businesses by themselves. Of that 1.9 million Black-owned businesses, only about 100,000 of those were able to offer employment to others in their community. So what does that tell us? That tells us that small business ownership is doing well. People are starting a new business every minute. We had, as of 2007, 1.9 million Black-owned businesses, of which only 100,000 could turn around and give jobs to others in our community. This document states that if every Black-owned business added just one employee, that would create 2 million additional jobs in the United States. While our unemployment rate continues to elevate, our Black businesses have a solution because we can actually employ our community and be self-sufficient. That's important because when you hear and or see someone say support your Black businesses, support your community, put money into your community, we can alleviate and deal with a lot of the issues that we're having. We can self-fund and self-employ our own community by simply supporting our community. There's a quote on here from Camille Cosby that says, let me find it. It says, I'm going to tell you what it says as soon as I find it. It says, as long as you are a consumer, you are a beggar. You must become a producer. I would challenge every person that watches this video to start producing wealth in our community. Support your local Black business. Support your Black businesses online. You can support businesses that aren't even in your community at this point. We can be the change that we're looking for. We can deal with our own self-employment rate. We can create wealth in our community. We can create situations where we change the way we do business with each other and how our businesses function. I'm a big advocate on entrepreneurship and small business ownership. I'm a big advocate on economic empowerment for our community. So you're going to continue to see different ways that we can be successful with regards to circulating dollars in our community. The first thing that we can start dealing with right away is our own unemployment rate. I challenge you to be a producer. Go out there, support your businesses. Let's start working with each other. Let's start producing. Let's start creating and sustaining wealth in our community. My name is Lene Javette. I'm the CEO and founder of Colsire. Thank you so much for listening to this video. Have a great day.
Yes. Remember I said, for those of you on this call, on this webinar, that you can make some money. The harvest is great. I said $1.2 trillion, millions and millions of Black businesses. We own less than 1% of the media. So therefore, most of our businesses cannot even afford to promote and advertise their business through main media resources. Even if they do, most of those people will not support those businesses. They will not. No matter how good your products or services are, yeah, you might make it in some situations, but for the most larger part, most people support their own. It's nothing personal. It's nothing about race. Sometimes they understand the system. Asians understand it. Italians understand it. White folks understand it. Jewish people understand it. Even though simple as the color of your skin, the melanin in your skin, makes that much of a difference to people. They believe in taking care of their own. We're the only people in this country that takes our money and goes out to somebody else. And because you're on this call, you said you wanted to make some money. Yes, you're going to make some money, but at the same time, you can create jobs. That's why I say you have to have the right mindset. You heard what she said? We can stop this unemployment rate in our communities by you going out there and doing what needs to be done to expose this publication to our businesses and our consumers. We the change agents. Then what she was saying, talking about producing. So you know when you support a black businesses, when you support our own business, took that $1.2 trillion and took a percentage of that and put it into our communities. Not only would our communities have more empowerment, more jobs, better housing, better way of life, less crime. Yes, we are change agents. Of course, you're going to make some money with this. But at the same time, you can change all of those situations. And the most important thing is this: the significance, the power of one man helping another man. By producing and showing this publication and helping businesses to grow through this publication, educating our people backwards and forth through this publication. This thing is so powerful. Yes, you're going to make some money through subscription, through advertising, and bringing in other editors. Of course, you're going to make money. And there's no limit to the amount of money you're going to make. But at the same time, your mindset got to be right. See, people buy you first. We know we need what we're talking about here. We know that we need to support one another now. See, 10 years ago, because of our mindset, because of our conditioning, that we have been taught from slavery not to trust one another, not to support one another. Crabs in the basket. All this has been ingrained in us, and it's still being that way. But times are changing. God heard our cry. People are coming together. This is survival. This is warfare. This is a different type of warfare. This is not talking about taking guns and knives and hurting one another. We're talking about economic warfare. This is survival. Putting food on our tables. Educating our own children. Not putting down no group or race of people. No, we don't do that. But it's about time, ladies and gentlemen, with your support, if we go out here and do what we need to do, we will make those changes. And ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to show you one more facts that need to be told in this last video that I'm going to share with you. Because all of this information is power. You need to know. You need to be armed with information. And information is power. Remember I said before, power only concedes to power. Power only respects power. And so with that being said, this is the
So Malcolm X once told us, our people not only have to be re-educated to the importance of supporting black businesses, but the black man himself must be made aware of the importance of going into business. Now, I discovered this quote right before I began my journey into the entrepreneurial world, and it completely stopped me in my tracks. I felt like he was speaking to me. Now, that was the motivation I had needed to move forward and support as many black businesses as I could and help others do the same. So I spent so many hours searching the internet in hopes of finding the history of black-owned businesses in the current state. And that was when I learned that we've had the keys all along and the $1.1 trillion buying power to create a powerhouse black community. But my biggest revelation was that supporting black businesses was not enough. Now, just so you understand where I'm coming from, I want you to imagine that $10 bill in your pocket or in your wallet right now. Now, in 6 hours, that will have disappeared. Now, this happens every 6 hours in the black community. where our money rotates and circulates for only 6 hours before it leaves and enters someone else's community. Now, just so you have a frame of reference, I want you to consider this. In Asian communities, their money circulates for a month. In Jewish communities, it circulates for 20 days. In the Black community, it circulates for only 6 hours. Now, in order for us to build this community, we have to hold on to those dollars for as long as possible to create more long-term wealth. Now, through my research, I've learned that supporting Black businesses isn't the only step that we must take. I've learned there are 3 different components. 1, of course, supporting Black businesses. 2, creating more Black entrepreneurs in our communities and more of a wealth and broader spectrum of businesses. And 3, creatively sharing our resources. Now, since it's Black History Month, I feel like it's only fitting that we look back at some successful Black communities to see how they've done it and completed all 3 of those components successfully. Because the best way for us to prepare for our future is to learn from our past. Now, in 2012, I began doing research on different Black-owned businesses. And through that research, I discovered my most favorite part of history, which is known as Black Wall Street, of course. Now, this community was located in Tulsa, Oklahoma, in the late 1800s, early 1900s. Now, what made this community so special was because they had this broad spectrum of Black-owned businesses. Everything in their community was Black-owned. They had Black-owned pharmacies, nightclubs, movie theaters, anything you can imagine, they had it. So they had no reason to step outside of that community and purchase anything else. So their money continuously rotated and circulated within that community, making them extremely prosperous. Now, one of the biggest issues I've seen within our community is that we don't necessarily have that broad range of businesses today. Now, in many communities, it's difficult, if not impossible, to find Black-owned grocery stores or even Black-owned pharmacies. So those dollars immediately run out of our community. Now, as I said before, in order for us to build, we have to make sure that we foster that entrepreneurial mindset in ourselves and even in our kids. Because I truly believe, and I want you to quote me on this, that each and every one of us should be an entrepreneur in some capacity. Regardless of what your full-time position is, whether that means that you're learning the ropes from there and that you're applying that to your own business, or if you're taking your passion and your hobby and turning that into a side business, it is all necessary. 1, to contribute to your own legacy and your own family, generations down the line, and 2, to contribute to the Black community in general. Now, another community that did a really good job at one of those components is in Boston, Massachusetts. So how do we create those businesses successfully? Well, that leads to the next component, sharing our resources. Now, in Boston, Massachusetts, in 1900, Booker T. Washington founded an organization known as the National Negro Business League. Now, the whole aim of this business, or this organization, was to help African Americans create businesses and make a profit. So you had these successful entrepreneurs, these aspiring entrepreneurs and professionals who got together and they basically networked and shared their resources and their stories about their successes and their failures so that other people can learn from what they did. Now, one of the biggest things that I've learned is that it's not that we don't have the ambition and the passion to do this, it's just that we don't have the knowledge necessarily. But the good news is that there are many of us who have gone down that road. So what I would say is don't be afraid to share that information. If you know how to form an LLC or get a trademark or logo, trademarks, that is some information that a lot of business owners or aspiring owners don't have. I know because I was one of them a couple years ago. So never be afraid to share that information. And this also applies to the professional and academic world. Wherever you are today, I guarantee you that there is someone who is 1 step behind you, or 10 steps, who is wondering how they can get to where you are today. So never hesitate to share that information and lift as you climb. Speaking of lifting as you climb, that is exactly what another group of women did in Detroit, Michigan in the 1930s. And I actually just learned about this story a couple weeks ago. So in Detroit, Michigan, in this Black community, there were a lot of different businesses there that were not Black-owned. These businesses would gladly take their money, but they would not hire them. So these women were fed up. And they said, well, look, if you're not going to hire us, we will not be spending our dollars here. And so they organized with other women in that community and taught each other about their buying power. And they made it their business to go around and support Black-owned businesses only. Now, these women were such a force to be reckoned with, that they went on to encourage 10,000 women all around the country to do the same, supporting Black-owned businesses, boycotting businesses that were not supporting their communities. Now, they also went into major negotiations with major corporations as well. And throughout those years, they had created 75,000 jobs for African Americans, pure Black girl magic. Now, as you can see with a lot of these stories, we've had the keys all along, almost 100 years ago, to get this done. But what really amazed me about these stories is the fact that we are still fighting the same battles 100 years later. So almost 100 years ago, we were still saying, buy Black, support Black businesses. And here we are today saying the same thing, which is why I say it's important that we learn from our past so we can prepare for our future, so that we don't repeat it again. So with that said, I challenge you all, once you leave here, to figure out how you will contribute to each of those three components. What type of business will you move forward to create to benefit yourself, your family, your legacy, and the Black community?
National Black Unity News. It's not a traditional newspaper. It's not a traditional newspaper, and it's also not a normal way of publication operate. This is a cooperation, a co-op. As you can see on the front page, we have many editors on here and staff members. And let me show you how this publication works. I'm just going to open it up in the middle here. As you can see, we have different editors on different subjects: real estate, women issues. We have our financial, so we have all the types. And each person kind of stay in their lane. If you're in real estate, that's what they are writing about, real estate. Some of the do's and don'ts that you do in real estate, some of the pitfalls that you don't fall into. They educate us about that particular industry. We have experts in all of these various industries that would educate our own people, but at the same time, empowering our people. At the same time, enlightening our people with information they can use to enhance their quality of life. So, ladies and gentlemen, I share all of this information with you for a reason. Of course, I keep reiterating this. You're going to make some money if you put in the work. You're going to make even more money if your heart is in the right place. You'll even make a whole lot, even more money when you go out here and share this information with Black businesses. When you share this information with your friends, your family members, by getting a subscription to the National Black, yes, you're going to get paid for that as well. But at the same time, you're putting out powerful information. Now, you can come on board with us. You can give me a call. I'm the publisher, David Murphy, 443-455-2373. This is not trying to impress you, but to impress upon you lasting impressions with powerful information. The people are waiting on us. They're waiting on you. You're on this call for a reason. You're on this webinar for a reason. Now, I'm going to see if I can open up this chat room and to see if I see some new people that came on board. And I don't know if Mr. Murphy's still around, but I'm going to see if I could invite him in if he cared to share with you some information. So, Mr. Murphy, I send you an invite, and if you care to come on board, please do. But in the meantime, ladies and gentlemen, the National Black Unity News will be published December the 1st. That will be our first issue. This publication here is our promotional issue. You know, again, today they said this was one of the greatest tragedies in American history. The young lady just mentioned Tulsa, Black Wall Street. She mentioned that, but you know, people forgot, they forget about that history when they killed hundreds of us, burned our businesses to the ground because we had too much power. And it's a shame that, you know, when they talk about history, the greatest tragedy, see, they overlook that. I mean, that's the greatest tragedy to them, not to us. And I see Mr. Murphy on board. So, Mr. Murphy, if you want some words, I'm ready to let you have it, sir. There you go.
David, Hi, everyone. I appreciate you on this call, but this is going to be short and sweet. David, first and foremost, I want to thank you for all that you're doing with all of what you've already done, man. You are an amazing individual. I really appreciate the fact that you have been given this task to us to perform, and I got to give it to you, man. It's a wonderful, wonderful journey that we're on. I listened to a lot of stuff this afternoon, Martin Luther King and those two wonderful ladies that was talking about Black businesses. And one of the things that really hit me this afternoon was a manifesto that was written back in the year 1712. It was written by this individual who had a plantation in the islands, and his name was Willie Lynch. He had a manifesto that required great diligence and patience with his individuals that he sold this concept to, and it was on point. It kept the concepts of what he was trying to accomplish, and they claimed that it would be done for 300 years. And in some cases, it's still full-fledged, and in some cases, it's still working on the minds and souls of our people. Willie Lynch put out this manifesto, and he sold it up and down the James River in the year 1712. And it talks about how to get people to depend on other individuals besides themselves. In other words, they wanted us Black folk, slave folks, to stay enslaved and to self-enslave ourselves for 300 years. And we did a pretty good job. It bothers me, the mindset of some of our people, and they've done a good job with this. I won't deal with a Black man. They don't know what they're doing. Every time I deal with a Black guy, I got a problem with the product or the outcome. Every time I deal with a Black person, it costs too much, this and that and the other. Well, all that's true. But have you dealt with some white folks that did the exact same thing? I have. In this room, in this room that I'm sitting in now, I have a complaint with a couple of folks that some of the work that they did in this house, just not pleased, and with none of them Black. And so what I want to share with you guys is this. There is a mindset that sits out there that's been permeating in our community for over 300 years. It was supposed to be ended in 2000, or at least until 2012. It is now 2017, and we're still having that same mindset of being self-enslaved. And I will tell you guys, and this is a problem for many of us, is that we do not trust, we do not spend time, energy, or efforts in each other's businesses. Now, as you know, and this is for another call, and this is for another group of individuals. This is a sales call, but I want you guys to just know one thing. You can overcome all of that just by giving them a better option than what they already have. And when I say that, what they're doing now, I don't care who it is, great, and keep doing that and do that, whatever they're doing well. We want people to stay in their lane. What's more important is that we want to be able to help them go even farther down that lane, go a little bit faster, go for a little bit better class or a little bit more money or whatever the case may be. They're going to take that road. All those individuals that you're trying to help, they definitely want to do better, be better, and go farther. We have the vehicle that we know that will assist them. It may not do everything for them, but it definitely will help them in their journey. And David, with that, I want to turn that back over to you. And again, thank you for the moment, okay?
Thank you, sir. Okay. So, again, ladies and gentlemen, I appreciate that, Mr. Murphy, as always. This video, this will be a videotape of this, and I will send it out to the other sales representative who was unable to make the call this evening. I had several calls today stating that few people won't be able to make previous engagements. But nevertheless, ladies and gentlemen, the time is now. And if not us, then who? If not now, then when? We are dying, ladies and gentlemen. Our children are shooting each other in the streets because of poverty. Our businesses had great hope and put everything they had into their business, and they took it far they go. They waiting on us. They need our support. And as you notice, that nobody's coming to help us but us. And if you want to make that money, you said, well, first you have to have the right mindset. You're going to have to put in some work. We just can't talk about this feel good, all this kind of stuff. This is warfare. This is life-altering information we are talking about. This is no game. This is no joke. This is a mission, a divine mission. For those of you who don't understand, I'm not going to get it. Those of you who have ears, will hear. Those of you who have eyes, will see. But ladies and gentlemen, get with me. There's no more excuses. All you have to do is put in the work. We have all the tools in place, and we create more tools as we, as every day we add new tools to it. We can furnish you with all the leads you need. All you have to do is pick up the phone, send out emails, texts, and stuff like that, and we'll show you even how to do that. But you say you want to make money, you want to be change agents? Give me a call. 443-455-2373. And I appreciate you all for taking your time being on the call. But we just can't talk about it. We have to be about it. Time's wasting. Lives right now, like you say, one business every day is being created. Unfortunately, 2 or 3 of them are going out of business. But they don't see the support. I told you before, we're only less than 1% of the media. And most of the time, oftentimes, we cannot afford mass media. They outprice a lot of us. Like I say, a lot of us are struggling. This is affordable. Very affordable. It was designed that way. Information and powerful information, it's designed that way. We can change the economy in our community and beyond. It's designed that way. If you want to make money, unlimited amount of money, and the way we have our system set up, it is designed that way for you to do so. All you have to do is do it. So, ladies and gentlemen, with that being said, I'm going to bid you farewell and a good night. But give me a call, because we're moving on with or without you. And I would love to go with you all the way to the top of the mountain. Because this is serious. This is warfare. And it's nothing personal. This is business. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you. I bid you a pleasant good night. God bless. Peace and power to you. Take care.